Imagine the endless void of space, cold, silent, infinite, and yet somewhere within this abyss, something moves. It does not drift aimlessly like cosmic debris, nor does it follow the predictable paths of the stars. It hunts, it watches, it waits. There are no records of its creation in any known galactic archive. No empire has claimed it, no historian has chronicled its existence, and yet the whispers persist, whispers of a ship so powerful, so utterly devastating, that it could extinguish entire worlds with a single shot, the Exterminus-class dreadnought. It is not a myth, it is not a legend, it is real and it is waking up. But where did it come from? Who built this harbinger of planetary extinction? To understand the origins of the most devastating weapon in the known universe, we must go back, far back. Before the rise of human civilization, before even the first great intergalactic wars, to an era when gods walked among the stars, and something even greater hunted them. In the depths of time, there was a race whose dominions stretched across the stars. The Aeteron Empire, not merely conquerors, not mere rulers, but the undisputed architects of civilization itself. Unlike most empires that rise and fall, the Aeterons were different. They did not war amongst themselves. They did not crumble under rebellion or stagnation. They thrived for over 1,000,000 years, their power expanding like an unstoppable tidal wave across the cosmos. Their secret: evolution beyond limitation. The Aeterons were not flesh and blood, nor were they cold machines. They were something in between, a perfect symbiosis of organic intelligence and artificial perfection. Every Aeteron was born biological but ascended into something more, integrating their minds and bodies with the most advanced technology the universe had ever seen. They saw themselves as inevitable. For every planet they conquered, they did not enslave, nor did they exterminate. They absorbed. They assimilated entire species into their empire, rewriting DNA, enhancing minds, turning the weak into something greater. To resist them was to resist evolution itself. And so, world after world, civilization after civilization, fell before them. They called it the Great Integration, but not everyone agreed with their vision of perfection. And one day, something answered. No one knows where they came from. Some believed they were an ancient race from a forgotten era, one that had reached the pinnacle of existence and sought to protect it. Others claimed they were not from this universe at all, but invaders from a realm where time and space had no meaning. They were known only as the architects of oblivion. The architects did not seek conquest. They did not build empires or wage war for resources. They sought only balance, and in their eyes, the Aeterons had upset that balance. The first sign of their arrival was not an armada, nor a declaration of war. It was a silence. Entire colonies gone, not destroyed, not conquered, erased. Planets that had once burned bright with Aeteron cities were reduced to barren wastelands, their histories scrubbed from existence. Libraries held empty records where once knowledge had flourished. Even the memories of those who had lived there began to fade, as if the architects were rewriting reality itself. The Aeterons responded the only way they knew how, with war. They unleashed weapons that shattered moons, that ripped holes in the very fabric of space. They built planetary siege cannons, fusion rifts, quantum vortex annihilators, devices that tore apart entire solar systems. But the architects did not fight with ships or guns. They fought with ideas. Entire fleets vanished from history. Empires that had once stood alongside the Aeterons in defiance of the architects simply ceased to be. In their place, nothing. No ruins, no remnants. As if they had never existed at all. The Aeterons realized, too late, the horror of what they faced. They were fighting something that could not be fought. And so, in their desperation, they created something unthinkable, a weapon unlike any other. A warship that was not merely a vessel, but a living entity, infused with the raw power of annihilation itself. A single shot from this weapon would not just destroy a planet, it would erase it, not merely reduced to rubble, not merely left in ruin. Gone. No debris, no radiation, no lingering echoes in the void. It was a weapon forged to fight the unthinkable, a weapon designed to defy oblivion itself. But the war ended before it could be used. The architects vanished, as mysteriously as they had come. The Eteron Empire broken, scattered to the winds of time, and the Exterminus-class dreadnought lost. Or so the galaxy believed, until now, because something has awakened in the void, a signal, faint, almost imperceptible, a transmission encoded in an ancient Eteron dialect, pulsing out from the darkness of deep space, repeating the same cryptic message over and over again. The eye opens, but who sent it? And more importantly, what are they trying to wake up? Before we jump into this epic tale, subscribe to XenoChronicles for the most intense sci-fi battles, legendary warriors, and universe-shaking wars. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join the fight, because what comes next will shake the very foundations of reality. The message repeats, over and over, a whisper in the void. The eye opens. At first, it is dismissed as background noise, just another fragment of lost data, drifting through the ruins of dead civilizations. Space is littered with the echoes of the past, distress signals from long-extinct empires, emergency warnings from ghost ships, the last transmissions of doomed colonies. But this is different. This message does not decay. It does not weaken as it travels. In fact, it is growing stronger. Someone or something is amplifying it. Across the known galaxy, deep space observatories pick up the anomaly. AI systems flag it as a high-priority signal. The message is too old, its encryption too complex to be anything but Eteron in origin. But that should be impossible. The Eterons are gone, a relic of history, a civilization that once ruled with absolute dominance, but collapsed under the weight of forces beyond comprehension. And yet, their voice speaks from the void once more. Governments, warlords and rogue factions alike scramble to uncover the truth. Some believe it is a hoax, others fear it is a warning. But there are a few, the ones who know the legends, the ones who understand what the Eterons were truly capable of, who recognize the words for what they are. A signal, a call, a key, unlocking something long buried. And at the very edge of known space, deep within the ruins of a forgotten sector, something wakes up. The Tartarus expanse, a void of absolute darkness. No light reaches it. No life survives within it. It is a place feared by all, a region of dead stars and shattered planets where ships vanish without a trace, a graveyard of forgotten wars, a place where time itself seems to fray at the edges, and in its heart something is waiting. Buried beneath the frozen crust of a long-dead world, encased in an ancient, impenetrable vault, lies the last weapon of the Eterons, the Exterminus-class dreadnought. For thousands of years it has been sleeping. Its hull, blacker than the void itself, is fused into the very bedrock of the planet. Its structure is not like any other ship. It is alive, not in the way of organic creatures, not like the simple AI-driven warships of lesser species, but something far more terrifying. It was designed to think, to learn, to adapt, to be the last ultimate weapon. And now, after eons of silence, the message reaches it. The eye opens. Deep within the buried Titan, ancient systems flicker back to life. Power surges through veins of dark matter circuitry, pulsing like a heartbeat. The blackened metal of its hull hums with energy as forgotten protocols engage. It begins to wake up, and the galaxy is not ready for what comes next. The first ones to arrive are the scavengers, a small independent crew, pirates, exiles, those who make their living salvaging the remains of dead civilizations. They pick up the signal, trace its origin to the Tartarus expanse, and descend upon the frozen world with dreams of untold riches. But as they land, an unnatural silence settles over them. The world is barren, yet it feels like it is watching them. Their scanners pick up something massive beneath the ice, a structure larger than any known capital ship buried deep, its form unreadable, as if it refuses to be fully perceived by their instruments. The air grows heavy, the temperature dropping far below what should be possible. And then the signal changes. It is no longer a whisper. It is a pulse, a heartbeat. The ice begins to crack. Tremors ripple across the surface. The scavengers barely have time to react before the ground beneath them collapses. And for the first time in thousands of years, the Exterminus-class dreadnought moves. News spreads like wildfire. The moment the ship awakens, deep space observatories detect a massive energy spike from the Tartarus expanse, the kind of energy signature that should not exist, something that defies modern understanding of physics, something that is not just activating, but growing. Every major power in the galaxy takes notice. Militaries mobilize. Secret factions prepare their contingencies. Theories flood the black markets and underworld channels. What has awakened in the dark? And then, the first planet vanishes, not destroyed, not attacked, erased. A world that had existed for millennia, one that had billions of inhabitants, simply ceases to be. No records, no remains, no lingering gravitational effects. It is as if it had never existed at all. Panic spreads across the galactic community. Leaders scramble to understand what happened. Conspiracy theories explode across the networks. Some claim it was an experiment gone wrong, a new weapon unleashed by a rogue faction. Others whisper of something much worse. But those who know the legends, those who have spent their lives studying the lost history of the Eterons, they recognize the truth. The Exterminus-class dreadnought has awakened, and it is testing its power. It is remembering what it was made for. The question is no longer where it came from. The question is, who sent the signal, and why, after all this? Time, has the ship answered? Because if the Exterminus has awakened, then something far worse must be coming. A ripple spreads through the void, an unseen tremor across the very fabric of reality. The Exterminus-class dreadnought is fully awake, now. No longer buried, no longer trapped beneath ice and stone. It moves through the dead silence of space like a predator that has just caught the scent of its prey. But it is not drifting. It has a destination, and the galaxy watches in horror as it begins its first journey in over 1 million years. For the first time in recorded history, every major power in the universe agrees on something. The Exterminus must be stopped. The Galactic Dominion, the Sovereign Federation, the Rimworld clans, even the nomadic Zalthari warfleets, ancient enemies who have fought for centuries, all come together under a single banner. Not for conquest, not for control, for survival. Within hours, an emergency war council is formed. The best minds of the galaxy, scientists, admirals, strategists, gather in secret to devise a plan. They analyze the Exterminus energy output, its movement patterns, its apparent trajectory, and what they discover shakes them to their core. It is not wandering. It is not lost. It is hunting. The planet that vanished? That was only a test. The Exterminus is heading straight toward the nearest populated system, home to over 40 billion souls. They have only 6 days before it arrives. No one knows how to fight it. Weapons that can shatter moons meaningless. Planetary defense systems irrelevant. The Exterminus is not just a warship. It is something else. The few readings they've managed to extract from its brief activation reveal terrifying anomalies. The ship does not emit energy. It absorbs it. Attempts to scan its hull result in distorted, unreadable data, as if the ship is warping the very nature of reality around itself. Its presence alone seems to interfere with time-space measurements. It is not just a relic of an ancient war. It is a force beyond comprehension. But the galaxy does not have the luxury of fear. They must act. And so, in the shadow of impending annihilation, they put together the largest fleet ever assembled. 100,000 warships, colossal dreadnoughts, siege carriers, destroyer-class battlecruisers, weaponized asteroids rigged with antimatter warheads, everything the galaxy has to offer. It is the largest armada in history, and yet they know it may not be enough. The countdown begins. Day 1. The fleet mobilizes, setting a course to intercept the Exterminus before it reaches its target. Across the galaxy, billions of people wait in silence, staring at their screens, watching, as history unfolds in real time. Day 2. Deep space probes detect something horrifying. The exterminus is accelerating. It is learning, adapting, testing its power. Day 3. The fleet reaches the designated intercept point, a stretch of open space just beyond the borders of inhabited systems. Final checks are made. Weapons are primed. Every pilot, every soldier, every commander understands this is it. Day 4. The exterminus arrives, and the battle begins. At first, it almost seems like they have a chance. The moment the exterminus enters range, the fleet unleashes hell. Tens of thousands of warships fire at once. Plasma cannons, ionized railguns, quantum destabilizers, supernova torpedoes. Every weapon known to modern warfare is unleashed in a cataclysmic storm of destruction. The exterminus vanishes in a blinding explosion of fire and energy. A moment of silence, a brief flicker of hope, and then the fire clears. And the exterminus is still there, untouched. The galaxy watches in horror as the impossible happens. The energy of the attack, every shot, every weapon, is absorbed into the ship. It feeds on their assault, growing stronger with every blast. Then it retaliates. It does not fire conventional weapons. It does not launch missiles or deploy fleets of drones. Instead, the space around the fleet begins to warp. Time fractures. Ships that were once in formation suddenly find themselves out of sync with reality. Some are frozen mid-movement. Others are torn apart as the very laws of physics betray them. Then the exterminus does something no one can explain. It chooses. Among the hundreds of thousands of ships, one is marked. A single battlecruiser, the Leviathan, one of the strongest warships ever built. Without warning, it ceases to exist. No explosion. No wreckage. Nothing. The exterminus does not destroy. It erases. Panic spreads. The fleet breaks. Ships flee in all directions. Some fire blindly. Others simply vanish as the exterminus continues its silent, methodical destruction. Admirals scream. Over comm channels demanding order. But there is no order, only fear. In less than an hour, the largest fleet in galactic history is gone. And the exterminus? It continues its course, unstoppable, unchallenged, unfazed. The people of the galaxy stare at their screens, unable to comprehend what they have just witnessed, and then the final message is received. One last transmission, intercepted from deep space. A voice, not Eteron, not human, not anything they have ever heard before, a whisper, a warning. The weapon is awake, and the war it was built for has not ended. A galaxy in mourning, a galaxy in terror. The greatest fleet in history, a force meant to stop the Exterminus-class dreadnought, has been erased from existence, and now the weapon moves unopposed. It does not alter its course. It does not acknowledge the destruction it left behind. It simply continues, moving toward its target, a world home to 40 billion innocent souls. The countdown to extinction has begun. In the capital cities of the doomed world, people stand in silence gazing at the sky. The red warning lights flashing across every screen seem almost meaningless now. There is nowhere to run. Across the system, planetary shields are raised, a last desperate attempt to resist the inevitable. Supermassive orbital cannons are powered to full charge. Every remaining warship, every planetary defense turret, every weapon that still functions is aimed toward a single point in space. Waiting, watching, hoping for a miracle. But deep down, everyone knows the truth. Nothing can stop what is coming. When the exterminus finally arrives, it does not slow down. It does not acknowledge the defenses. It does not prepare for battle. It does not need to. Instead, the void itself seems to bend and twist around the ship, as if space itself refuses to touch it. Reality distorts in its wake, an unnatural silence falling over the system. Then, the first shots are fired. The last surviving warships unleash everything they have, a storm of plasma, quantum-laced missiles and stellar core disruptors hurl toward E. The extermines, each one powerful enough to crack open entire moons, and yet they do nothing. Just like before, every attack is absorbed. The extermines does not deflect them, it does not counter them, it simply feeds. And as it does, it begins to awaken. The surface of the ship, once cold and dead, begins to shift. Light emerges from beneath its metallic skin, ancient runes glowing with energy not seen in 1,000,000 years. The void trembles, and then it fires. There is no explosion, no flash of energy, no visible projectile. The exterminus simply exists, and then it chooses, and in an instant the planet is gone, not destroyed, not shattered, not turned to ash. Gone, as if it had never existed at all. 40 billion lives erased. From reality, the planets nearby untouched, the stars unchanged. Only the world it targeted, removed from existence with a precision that defies every law of physics. The galaxy watches, and it finally understands. This is not a weapon of war. It is a weapon of eradication. It does not simply destroy its enemies, it erases them from history. Then, just as before, another transmission is received, the same inhuman whisper, but this time it speaks clearly. The cycle begins anew. The war is not over. We return, and then silence. The exterminus does not linger. It does not celebrate its destruction. It simply turns and vanishes into deep space, moving toward another target, another world, another civilization, unaware of what is coming. Somewhere out there, in the vastness of the galaxy, someone built this ship, someone programmed its mission, and now it has awakened once more, and nothing in the universe can stop it. What if this is only the beginning? What if the extermines is not alone? What if there are more? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this ancient weapon can be stopped? Or is the fate of the galaxy already sealed? If you loved this deep dive into sci-fi, horror, and ancient cosmic mysteries, subscribe to XenoChronicles for more universe-shattering stories. And remember, some things are meant to stay buried. Until next time.